my friend. How are you doing?
We're grand. We're all good over here in Ireland. I'm now joined on the line by Scott Grimes. Yes?
Say again? Sorry, what?
I'm now joined on the line by Scott Grimes to discuss the new sci-fi space comedy show, The Orville. And Scott, for all our viewers and our listeners, TV listeners here in Ireland, can you explain to me a bit about what The Orville is about?
Well, it's pretty simple, Jim. I'll tell you. It's 400 years in the future. And it's Seth MacFarlane, who we all know and love. It's his vision of a kind of modern future, meaning instead of some militant future where people are saluting each other, it might be the actual future where there's still Facebook and Twitter and people laugh and they drink beer and they, so it's a comic look at the future, but also tackling serious political and social issues, and it's very much based, obviously, on Star Trek. Why Star Trek was so wonderful? Why wouldn't we? But instead of this kind of dystopian future, which is a look at a dark future, it's a utopian future where we're looking at something positive. That we've kind of figured out all of our peace problems on Earth, so now we're going to explore the universe with this crew of misfits and try to create peace and love around the universe.
Also, it sounds lovely on paper and on viewing as well. But I was doing a bit of research there today, Scott, and I actually noticed, going back, I'll bring you back an awful long time now, you actually appeared in Star Trek The Next Generation in 1989 as Eric in an episode called Evolution. It went out on September the 23rd in 1989. And dude, as an 18-year-old boy, you've sort of come full circle now. That experience of... There's
a funny story, Jim, about that, because my buddy Will Wheaton, who played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation, we were good buddies. And he called me up and he said, "You want to do an episode? You want to do this episode of the show?" And I was like, "Of course, da-da-da-da." We did this kind of storyline where the kids, the younger kind of generation of the generation, went into the holodeck and had this kind of ski trip and, made out with their gals. And but we finished filming it, and they called me up. And they're like, "Hey, the show ran too long.
Yeah.
Too long, so we got to cut your whole storyline. Do you still want credit?" And I'm like, "Well, damn, of course I still want credit." So the only thing you actually see of me is the back of my head in some scene later on where they're all at the bar. That's what. Now, I think on the DVD release, they have the scenes that were cut. But ultimately, when it's on TV, you don't even see me. So I'm not really in it, but I'm credited.
Yeah, but you must have got a love for Star Trek from an early age in being involved in that sort of casting and seeing the production up firsthand. You must have been there at 18 saying, "This is something huge. I'd love to get the opportunity to get into this if it comes around." And then sort of when the Orville came about and you heard about the role being cast when Seth MacFarlane doing it, was it something like, "This is right up my alley. This is something that I've been itching to do for a long time." And was that the feeling, Scott?
Yeah, I grew up. My dad turned me on to science fiction at a very early age, and we used to watch movies like Forbidden Planet, the old kind of 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s science fiction movies. So that really got me started. And then, of course, Star Trek I love. But the Orville, Seth MacFarlane and I have been friends for a long time and worked together. So the part was written for me, which was really lucky. So I didn't. He kind of, I'm a redheaded drinking buddy of his, and he wrote a redheaded drinking buddy for himself. So it was pretty easy because the part was written for me. So I'm just lucky that him and I have stayed friends over the years, and that's how I got the job, really. But yes, I'm a huge science fiction fan, huge Star Trek fan, so this is really my desire over the years to be in a space show is finally coming true.
Yeah, and Scott, I was just looking back through some of the Star Trek generations and some of those the series back, doing a bit of research today to sort of get a twist on your character and try and relate him to someone. And one guy kept cropping up the whole time, and he was actually an Irish actor, Colm Meaney. He played Chief Petty Officer Miles O'Brien in Star Trek Generation. And there's an awful lot of similarities between your character and his character into relation to the practical joker element and the sort of mischief and the whole element of flying and ships and stuff like that. And was there something maybe when he was looking to maybe to write the character, when he was looking back through previous series, was that something that maybe
God, yes,
that came across back to the Colm Meaney sort of reference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Seth has taken everything he's ever watched in his entire life and put it into this show, which is like Twilight Zone episodes and other TV shows that he loved. But if the Colm Meaney thing, I'd have to ask him myself. But I guarantee him being the lover of all the Star Trek shows, that was definitely an idea. And Colm, I did a film with Colm in 1998, a hockey movie, and I love that guy. So even comparing us is an honor for me because I'm just such a huge fan of his.
Yeah, and Scott, the character Gordon Malloy, the sort of, I remember seeing one or two episodes, and the potato head prank and the amputated leg, and the background to his character performing the flying remover and how he trying to impress the sort of Garland. There's a sort of mix from every sort of sci-fi show, from Star Trek to Battlestar Galactica, even to a bit of the humour that was in Stargate. You can see the cross of all those episodes trying to bring in and still try and bring the comedy element or the comedy twist that Seth loves. And is that something that you've seen that works in TV lately? I'm just relating to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who have taken a complete twist now on the relation to the police detective series, and it seems to be going off as a major hit. Is that something you've sort of, there's a market here and we can really capitalise on it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's in general, what we're dealing with what Seth wanted and loves to watch. So if you look back at that, you go, Seth grew up with all these shows, and what he's doing is he's taken all the shows that he loves and creating a show that he knows other people like him would love. So taking a little bit from each, and people love familiarity, right? They love to. Now, there's a fine line too, Jim, because if it looks like you're copying something, well, then it's not original, Yeah. But I love, like, the reason we love Stranger Things, which is a mini-series here. I think you guys probably have it by now there, yeah?
Yeah, it's coming here now, fairly soon.
The reason I think we love that is that's a throwback to old Steven Spielberg movies, and we love that. We love that familiarity. So I absolutely agree with you. I think Seth definitely took all these shows he grew up with, and all the loves of movies, and put them into a show, and then had throwback comedy and throwback exaggerated stuff and little homages to things that we remember when we're kids. And I think it's really important because I love television like that.
And maybe the production or the shooting, I imagine in relation to the modern technology as we know it now, the sort of the graphics and the things, the productions that you can do in the Orville in relation to the scenes like that is first class in relation. And is that something that you're coming back into this sort of reality? I know you play Steve in American Dad, and it's an animated version, dealing with all sort of animated graphics, but now you're on a set where you can see actual sort of it's more stunt based in relation. I know there's an awful lot of graphics and side effects, but is it two different worlds and two different joys to be going into work one day in the animated side, and then you're coming out to work the next day in the Orville side? It must be a great blend as an actor, as a moment to experience.
Oh God, absolutely. I love it, and I love that on the Orville, as much digital work as we have that the audience sees when it comes on TV, we have practical stuff right there in front of us, which as an actor we love. We have that screen that we're in front of on the bridge where we're flying the ship. That's practical. We see the stars, we see zooming by, we see enemy ships that they've already filmed so we can see them, and that really helps us as an actor. And, on the animated side, obviously, I could tell you a big old story right now, but all I do on that is I go in, I do the voice. We have, a couple hours of work a week, and then they go off and do all the genius stuff with the animation to make it funnier, and they edit it. So I have very little to do with that. So being involved on the Orville and being, right there in the ship that is built, that ship is 2 stories high or 3 stories high, and it's the size of a real spaceship, I would assume. I've never been on a real spaceship, so how would I know? But it's awesome as an actor to be there, right there with the practical sets.
Yeah, you must feel like you're in NASA or something. But Scott,
yeah, absolutely.
Scott, in relation to the shooting week now for the Orville, in relation to the episodes, how long does it take to shoot maybe one episode? And is there, I imagine it's all done in studio, is there any offset sort of shooting, or are you all in a sort of one particular location? And when you get that script...
No, we are...
Yeah?
We are on the set. We have our big set. We have about 3 sound stages with different sets on them. But a couple days a week, we're off, because we go to these other planets. And sometimes they're far away because you got to find a place that, kind of looks like what we would think an alien planet or a civilization would look like. So it's like filming a giant movie. I'm telling you, I've never filmed anything that feels exactly like any big movie I've ever done or any big movie that's ever been done. And then a lot of the time we're on the sets, and they build a ton of sets right there at 20th Century Fox, and we film about 10 days per episode, but again, we've had episodes that went 20 days because they just were a little bit more entailed and we needed more time. So Seth is really great at not really putting a number on anything and just saying, let's make the best thing that we can make.
Yeah, and I suppose, Scott, in relation to the actual scene, I imagine you get your scripts, maybe, I don't know what day, probably a Monday or something, and there's a meeting and you go through the scripts and ideas and come out with them with the producer, and then there's probably a first rehearsal and there's probably a few improv scenes. And is there many sort of, by the time the original script to the final script, or do you find that there's lots and lots of changes on a weekly basis, that you might have the original lines learned off and then you're a day before the final shoot and the writers might say, no, we're going to add something else and you got to learn this off as well, compared to what you would have been done in an animated sequence where you'd know your script in advance?
Yeah, that's usually on the day. When you're working with someone like Seth, who wrote these months and months and months ago, so we don't really have much say before we film. He's such a great writer, so you really look at these scripts and there's nothing you really want to change about them anyway.
Yeah.
But when you're there on the day and you're acting with each other, then the ideas can come. It's more of a last-minute improvisational thing. I'm not a writer, so I'm not going to take any of Seth's work or any of the other writers' work and change it because I think it's better. They do that way better than I do, and I act, and that's my job. So, but on the day, if Seth and I come up with something witty or something funnier, we definitely kind of put our heads together and try to come up with a funnier line or a better scenario. But that's very rare because Seth's such a great writer. So, but the process is very similar to what you said. We have a read-through, and we read it through, and then the writers go off and fix what they think is wrong. And we start filming immediately. There's no rehearsal, really.
All right.
We go onto the set and rehearse it before the cameras roll, but it's very brief. We just kind of dive into it, and it's our job at home to learn our lines and come in prepared,
And Scott, I imagine there's an awful lot of, because it's face-to-face interaction, I imagine there's an awful lot of funny moments and an awful lot of blooper reels and sort of moments where that you get the sort of, the laughs are more because it's face-to-face stuff than you're dealing with facial interactions, and sometimes, as we know, a scene can be very, very funny and you just can't hold it in. I suppose lots of times there's an awful lot of funny stories or memorable moments around the set. And can you maybe describe one sort of funny moment that just had everyone in buckets of laughter?
Well, there's so many, and they usually involve, swear words or something dirty. We're constantly breaking each other up because of the concept of the show is kind of goofy and funny sometimes. So you're trying to be when you ask someone to be serious during a comedy moment. usually, you're trying so hard that you end up breaking up. So we have laughter all the time on that set. There was one, we did an episode where there was a spider.
Yeah.
And it was this episode where the I don't know if it's come on there yet, but it will, where our character of Alara, who's the security officer, the girl, has these kind of nightmares, and and they start to come true on the ship. And we're just all sitting there at a big giant conference table, and we had a spider. And unfortunately, Seth and Adrienne, who plays Commander Kelly, who's the commander, they're deathly afraid of spiders. I love spiders, so it was just really fun to watch as the spider's crawling down the center of the table. If it went a little bit to the left, Adrienne would flip out. If it went anywhere near Seth, and for some reason, I love watching people get scared. As long as they're not they're going to be harmed. It's this thing of mine. I just couldn't keep my shit together. Sorry if I'm swearing, but I couldn't keep it together because there's nothing funnier than watching Seth MacFarlane afraid of a spider. And I'm not ragging on him. People have their fears, man. I got mine. I'm just saying on that particular day I couldn't get through my stuff because it was just so funny to watch. It's a slow spider. It's not even a fast spider. But the second it came anywhere near him, at 10 feet, he jumped up from his chair, and he really didn't like it. I like stuff like that. I like when people are tackling their fears, and I get a kick out of it.
And Scott, maybe you can describe in your own words your own character, Gordon Malloy. If you just describe him maybe in 3 sentences, how would you describe him?
Oh, God. He's your best buddy, who you went to college with. He's got the heart of gold, but he doesn't make the right decisions all the time. I have a friend like that, I've got several friends like that. I might be that friend to other people. But, he's harmless, and he doesn't get in the way, and he's really good at driving the ship, so that's why you keep him around. But he's also good to have a drink or 2 or 3 or 5 or 12.
Yeah, and Scott, in relation, I'm just looking back through some of your works there in relation to playing in serious sort of sitcoms like ER and maybe Party of Five, and then the comedy humour to American Dad, and this Orville now, it's gone into the sci-fi sort of mode, and those experiences of the past of being in hit shows, it must serve you good going forward. You must have picked up an awful lot along the way from working even in American Dad, ER, Party of Five, that you can really bring to your character here in the Orville going forward. And those experiences as an actor must stand you in good stead in when you're coming to a sort of a show that you haven't experienced or haven't been on. I know you were in the Star Trek generation for that one episode you were Spain, but this sort of, it must stand you in good stead.
It gives you a level of confidence when you've been in the business as long as I have. That's really what helps. Because being an actor, you're automatically insecure. You're going to be up against other actors, and as far as competitors, and it's almost like every single day you are going on a job interview, and that's not conducive to good work. I don't think. You're going to be nervous. You're going to, you might not do your best. You might have a bad day. The thing about me being in the business so long and working with the people I've worked with that trust me is that takes away all that nervousness for me, and I get to do. And ER actually taught me that because immediately I was trusted on that show. Even though I auditioned, I was immediately trusted on that show. And so I got to do some of the best work I feel I've done because I was trusted and I had the confidence. And Orville is the same thing where Seth trusted me. He said, here's your role. You are Gordon. There's no other Gordon. And I trust you with that. So do whatever you want with it. And that's really, oh my God, to have that as an actor and know that even if you did mess up, people are on your side and you're available to mess up, so you can keep trying and doing something better. That's what Orville has been to me, and I'm really, really proud and happy that I got the opportunity to create this character on my own without anybody else, being involved.
Yeah, Scott, before we let you go now, and I suppose we've been running this celebrity quiz for the last 6 or 7 months. We've had over 50 celebrities all over the world taking part. It's a simple celebrity quiz. How well do you know Ireland? You're actually a friend, your buddy there, Will Wheaton, scored 9 out of 10 representing Big Bang Theory-eyed Will Wheaton.
Well, he's a smart son of a bitch, that's why. I'm not as smart, so don't think I'm I'm getting 9 out of 10, but I'm up for it. I can't wait.
Okay, so Scott Grimes, you're a celebrity. How well do you know Ireland? First question, can you name any colour of the Irish flag?
Green.
Correct, 1 from 1. Question number 2, can you name any county in Ireland?
County?
Yeah.
Cork.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, 2 from 2. Question number 3. March the 17th is known as what day worldwide?
St. Patrick's Day.
Correct. 3 from 3. Question number 4. Which of these is a famous Irish tourist attraction? Is it A, the Cliffs of Moher, B, Brandenburg Gate, or C, Oystermouth Castle?
Oh boy, I'm going to say A.
Correct. Cliffs of Moher, 4 from 4. Question number 5. Which of these is a famous Irish river? Is it A, the River Shannon, B, the River Rhine, C, the River Lech?
I'm going to say A, but it's probably C.
Correct. A is correct. River Shannon, 5 from 5. Question number 6. Can you name any famous Irish sports star in any sport? And I'll give you a hint.
Irish sports star.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. This guy was in the media all last year. He was fighting Fly Mayweather in a public event.
Of course. That's what I was going to say. Conor McGregor, absolutely.
Correct. 6 from 6. Question number 7. Ireland was once occupied by what country? And it's our neighbours across the pond.
Yeah, England.
Correct. 7 from 7. Question number 8. Which famous alcoholic beer was founded in Ireland?
Guinness.
Correct. 8 from 8. Question number 9. Which plant or shrub is the national symbol of Ireland?
I'm going to say this. I'm probably wrong, but I would immediately say it was the shamrock.
Correct. You've equalled Will Wheaton now, 9 from 9. So Robert Davi, who's played, was in License to Kill as Franz Sanchez. You probably know Robert Davi. He's out in the lead with 10 to 10. So this is to go level with Robert Davi on 10 out of 10 and to go into top place. Okay. So final question. Can you name any famous Irish actor or musician?
I can name many Irish actor or musician?
Yeah, anyone.
God, I know many of them. I would say Bono.
Correct.
Say, am I right? I would say Colin Farrell.
Correct. You've got 10 from 10. I suppose I'll just let you know the question that Will Wheaton got wrong. It was in relation to which of these is the famous Irish river. He thought it Rhine sounded like an Irish name, but the River Rhine is in Germany, so that's the one he got wrong.
Absolutely, and I knew that. That's how I knew. I've been to the River Rhine, and I'm like, thank God I've been there, because I probably would have said that, because it does sound very familiar to somebody.
Yeah. Scott Grimes, it's an absolute pleasure on you. We're here in season 1 here in Ireland, watching the Orville on Fox UK. We're roughly the 4th episode in. I was just checking there yesterday. So it's an absolute pleasure having you on the show to talk about the Orville. I know you're filming even on season 2, so we have a lot of episodes here to come and enjoy here over in Ireland and the UK. And Scott, it's been a pleasure having you on the show here tonight, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavours. Take care, mate.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, and I appreciate this opportunity. I love Ireland. Have a good one.